I'm Laura Geis. Welcome back to week 9 in the God Success Secrets video series. Now, so far in this series, we have been building a foundation using God's Word to build your successful life. And this week, I want us to think about what is one trait that most successful people have in common. If you think of the most successful athletes, musicians, business people, marriage partners, anyone in your life who you know who is successful, what is the one thing that they have in common? And people who have studied success, and some people have made a living studying success, they all list this one trait as being one that you must have if you want to be successful. And the good news today is that we have this trait. If we're a Christian, we have the trait. So what is it? Well, Harry Truman said it when he said, "In reading the lives of great men, I have found that the first victory they won was over themselves. Self-discipline with all of them came first." So this week's success secret is master self-control. And our verse comes from Proverbs 25:28, where it says, "Like a city whose walls are broken down is a man who lacks self-control." So when we have no self-control, we are leaving ourselves wide open for the darts from the enemy. But when we have that self-control, it's as if we are building a protection around ourselves so that we can reach our success. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, then this is it for me. I'm never going to be a success because I don't have any self-control. But the truth is that you do. If you look in Galatians chapter 5, where the fruit of the Spirit is talked about, the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, and what's that last one? Self-control. So God says He has put a measure of self-control in all of us. The problem is we don't exercise that self-control muscle all the time. Some of you know for the past 10 weeks I've been in a new exercise dieting class at my local YMCA. And so as part of the class, I have been taking a different exercise class every week. I'm experimenting with all different types of exercise. So I remember the first time I went to the TRX class. If you don't know what TRX is, they hang these straps from the ceiling and you're kind of suspended halfway in the air, and then you use your own body resistance to do different exercises. And it's quite challenging, and I was very clumsy at first, but I've kind of gotten the hang of it now. But I remember a couple days after I took that first class, I was sore. And it was as if I had found muscles I hadn't used for a while. And that's how it is with self-control. If we don't use it, we lose it. So today we're going to talk about ways we can begin to exercise that self-control muscle. And what we're looking for here is progress, not perfection. This side of heaven, none of us are going to master self-control. Even Paul talks about the things I want to do are not the things I do, and I keep doing the things that I don't want to do. So even Paul, one of the real heroes of the Bible, struggled with self-control. But we can progress and move further along the path towards getting more self-control, and that will help us lead a more successful life. So you know that I like to tell stories. So I have a couple stories for you about how I have tried to exercise my self-control muscle. Well, the first example I have for you has to do with this little contraption here. If you looked at it closely, it says food saver on it, and this is a food saver. And if you looked really closely at it, you would notice that it has a thick layer of dust on the top, because this thing has sat in my laundry room closet for probably 10 years, and I've never used it. This thing has never been used. And where did I get it? I got it on QVC. Now, I don't know what you think about home shopping and QVC. I think, QVC is a great company. But when I first started watching it, my first baby was young, and I was spending a lot of time at home, and I'd have to sit down and nurse him, and I'd flip on the television, and there was nothing on that I wanted to watch. So my mom got me hooked on QVC. And it wasn't long before I set up an account and placed my first order. But then things got a little out of hand. I started ordering things I really didn't need, and we really didn't have the money to pay for them. And I thought, this is getting to be a problem. I need to exercise some self-control here. So what I did in that case was I went cold turkey. I just turned the television off. I didn't watch QVC, and I didn't watch it for a whole year. So I was pretty proud of myself that I conquered that little bit of self-control. And then I gradually started watching it again. I like to watch the fashion shows because I just like to know, what are the new colors going to be for the fall fashion? What are the new styles going to be? And that was just an easy way for me to find that out. It was just enjoyable for me. So I would tune in every once in a while on QVC. And again, I was tempted to buy something. But this time, I was a little smarter than I was the first time. And I would write down the item I was interested in, how much it cost. I would even write down the color that I wanted, and I would put the paper away and wait a couple days. And when I waited a couple days, the great thing that happened was I realized I really didn't want that thing so badly after all. So that was a strategy I used to exercise my self-control muscle over home shopping. Now, another time that I needed to exercise my self-control muscle is recently. I'm going through this one right now. I was complaining one day that I don't have enough time to do all the things that I want to do. I'm trying to start this ministry, and I'm in the middle of writing 2 books, and I still have 6 kids to take care of, and my husband, and the house, and I've been doing some substitute teaching, helping out at the school, and I was needing more time to do the writing that I want to do. So I was complaining about that, and God just laid it on my heart, you know, if you'd give up your television time, you'd have plenty of time for writing. And I don't watch a whole lot of television. I actually very rarely sit down to watch television. I might watch while I'm ironing, or I have a television in the kitchen and I'll watch while I'm cooking, but I don't watch a lot. But it is true that sometimes when I'm watching while I'm cooking, I'll get into a movie. I love to watch those Turner Classic Movies. I think I've told you that before. But I really get into them, and when dinner's over and the dishes are washed, if the movie still has 30 minutes to go, sometimes I'll sit down on the bar stool and, watch the rest of the movie. So what God prompted me to do was to give up television for 40 days. So I thought, well, this is no big deal. I don't even watch a lot of television. This will be easy. But you know what? That first day, I found myself turning on the television again while I was in the kitchen, and it happened again the second day. So I'm in my prayer time, and I'm like, Lord, this is harder than what I thought it would be. I need some help with this. So what I did was I made myself a chart, and I numbered a piece of paper 1 through 40, and I pasted it on the refrigerator, and I told my family the deal I had made. 40 days I can't watch television, and I let them in on it. So now I have some accountability partners in the house. I actually have 7 accountability partners who, if I even get near a remote, they're reminding me, Mom, you can't watch television for another 38 days or 37 days. So that has really helped me with my self-control. So what are some strategies you can use to develop your self-control muscle? And I've come up with 3 that I want you to consider this week. The first one is to avoid temptation in the first place. So think about some of the things that tempt you, and how can you avoid those temptations? If you're an alcoholic, you obviously don't want to hang out at a bar. Or I know some businessmen who travel a lot, and they ask that the television is taken out of their room when they check into a hotel because they don't want to be tempted by some of the movies that are on the television. Or if they're going on a business trip and they're going to be with someone of the opposite sex, they make sure that a third party's always there, so there's no temptation there. So how can you set yourself up for success? By avoiding temptation. You know, if you're trying to lose some weight, you can't go and buy your favorite junk food and have your pantry stocked full of that. That's going to tempt you. So how can you get rid of the temptation? Just like I did when I just turned off the television and went cold turkey for a while. The second strategy is to stop and walk away and think about what you're doing. You know, a lot of temptations we give into very quickly. It's impulsive that yes, I want that and I'm going to get it right now. But just the same way that I would write down the item number of the thing I wanted, and when I waited a couple of days, I realized I didn't want it so much anymore. If you'll stop and take the time to think through the thing you're tempted to do and what's going to be the result if I give in to this temptation, sometimes that will stop you in your tracks. So that's a second strategy you can use. And then a third strategy is to go public, to tell someone else about what you're struggling with, what your temptation is, so that you'll have an accountability partner that you can say, you know, I'm tempted to do this thing, talk me out of it. That can be very helpful. So what I want you to do in your journal today is think about what are the temptations or the struggles that are holding you back from achieving your goals. What is that one thing that you keep, I say to myself, I just keep messing this up. What is that one thing in your life? And then which of those strategies that I just shared could you use to help yourself get over that struggle or that temptation? Could you avoid it? Could you walk away from it and think about what the consequence will be? Or can you find yourself an accountability partner? So write down that temptation or that struggle that you're having, and then come up with a game plan on what you're going to do about it. Find at least one strategy that you can use that will help you exercise your self-control muscle. I'll see you next time.